All right, thanks, guys. The Jazz take on the Cavs, 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. The Jazz open the betting as the 9-point favorite with a total at 208. And since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement in this one. We did see a slight half a point move downward on the spread. Although we haven't seen much movement on the total, we're still at that 208 number. Meanwhile, Utah dropped to minus 8.5. So once again, the Jazz open 9 down to 8.5. Total open remains at 208. Now, 66% of the consensus is leaning toward Utah. 56% of the consensus is shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Cleveland is plus 310 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Cleveland, the cover in here, you're not crazy. All right, they are 17-17 against the spread as the dog. So whenever they're catching the points, they're covering 50% of the time. They're also 5-5 against the spread in their games at the current number. Now, on the Utah side of things, their offense has struggled away from home. They're scoring just 105 points per contest when traveling. And Utah's also failed to cover in 6 out of their last 7 away from home. Now, when it comes to scoring, both teams have gone over in 2 out of their last 3, respectively. So with all that said and done, I think Cleveland can be not a horrible play here. I wouldn't certainly bet the house on it, but I think Cleveland can be a pretty good play here. So let me purchase the hook, buy it up, and take Cleveland plus 9 in the over 208 in that one. All right, next game, Magic Timberwolves, and that is going to be an 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Minnesota. The Magic opened the T-Wolves opened the betting as the 5.5-point favorite, and the total at 212. And since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the total. We're still at that original opening number of 212. Can't get that thing out of the corner here. Hang on. There we go. So anyway, Orlando at Minnesota. Minnesota opened the betting as the 5.5-point favorite, and the total at 212. Since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the total, although we did see a full fade, 1-point fade of the T-Wolves in the early going here. They're now minus 4.5. So once again, Minnesota open 5.5 down to 4.5. Total open remains at 212. 70% of the consensus is shaded toward the Timberwolves, 84% shaded toward the over, and the Magic are plus 165 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Orlando in this one, it's going to be tough sledding for you. We're looking at a Minnesota squad who is 12-6 straight up at home. They've been excellent at home this season. They're also 10-5 against the spread in their last 15 on their home court as well. This Minnesota offense is putting up 114 points per contest in the friendly confines. They're also covering 71% of their games that tipped off at the current point spread. Now, Orlando, on the other side, just has not been able to get many points on the board when traveling. They're putting up just 101 points per contest when traveling. They're also 7-9 straight up overall for the year on the road. And when it comes to the Orlando Magic, they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. And they're just 2-4 straight up in their last 6 in Minnesota. Now, when it comes to scoring, Orlando's 5-3 to the over in their last 8. Minnesota 9-0 to the over in their last 9. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Minnesota minus 4 and the over 212 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Wizards Heat, 8 o'clock tip-off in Miami. The Heat opened betting as the 7-point favorite, and the total at 214.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a slight fade of Miami when it comes to the spread. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. Right now, that total moved down to 213. So once again, the Heat open minus 7 down to minus 6.5. Total open 214.5 down to 213 even. 56% are leaning Miami, 59% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Wizards are plus 235 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Washington to cover the number here, just keep in mind they've been horrible when it comes to covering the spread this year. And as a matter of fact, they've failed to cover in 11 out of their last 13 as the official road underdog. Just 2-11 against the spread as the official road underdog. That's a percentage of just 15% when catching the points on the road. Really just bad against the number when traveling. This Washington defense is allowing 119 points per contest away from home, and they're also 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 when traveling. Now, Miami is 7-2 straight up in their last 9. They successfully covered the number in 8 out of those last 9 ball games. This Miami defense is allowing just 105 points per game at the American Airlines Arena. Their opponents are shooting just 42% in South Beach. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Miami's going 5-0 to the over in their last 5. Washington 2-0 to the over in their last 2 at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to once again purchase the hook, buy it down, and take Miami -6 in the over 213 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Dallas at Boston. And that is going to be an 8 o'clock tip-off in Beantown. The Celtics open the betting as the 5-point favorite with a total at 217.5. And since this one opened up, no movement on the spread, although we are seeing movement downward on the total. That moved down to 215. So once again, Boston open and remains the 5-point favorite. Total open 217.5 down to 215 even. 61% are leaning Boston, 78% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Mavs are plus 170 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Mavericks as the road dog in this one, it's going to be a tough one for you to get the job done because this Boston team is 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 at home. Their defense is allowing just 103 points per contest at the Garden this year. Meanwhile, Dallas really struggling as of late. They dropped 8 out of their last 11 straight up. They're also covering just 47% of their games away from home. Now, when it comes to the scoring, this Dallas defense is allowing 113 points per contest away from home. Meanwhile, Boston is 86% to the over in their games at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Boston -5 in the over 215 in that matchup there. Next game, Pacers, Bulls. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Chicago. The Pacers open the betting as the 6-point favorite, and the total at 201.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing money on Indiana right now. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. Right now, that total is at 201 even. So once again, the Pacers open 6 up to 6.5. Total open 201.5 down to 201 even. 70% are leaning Indiana, 68% shaded toward the over, and at the moment, Chicago's plus 225 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Chicago in an upset here, it's going to be tough sledding for you. This Indiana team is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 on the road. They successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 6 at any location. This Indiana defense is allowing just 105 points per contest when traveling. They're also covering 90% of their games at the current point spread. Now, Chicago on the other side, if you haven't known, they're just 10-28 straight up overall for the year. They're just 18-20 against the spread in those ball games. The Chicago offense is putting up just 99 points per contest for the year. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6 at home. Now, when it comes to the scoring, the Chicago defense is allowing 110 points per contest on their home court. Indiana's 4-1 to the over in their last 5. Give me the Pacers -6 after buying the half a point in the over 201 in that one. Next game, Nets, Grizzlies. Eight o'clock tip-off in Memphis. The Grizzlies open the betting as the 4.5-point favorite with a total at 207 and a hook. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a lot of movement on both the spread and the total. And as a matter of fact, we're seeing a full 1-point fade of Memphis when it comes to the number. We're also seeing that total move downward 3.5 points to 204 flat. So once again, Memphis open 4.5 down to -3.5. Total open 207 and a hook down to 204 even. 57% are leaning Brooklyn, 62% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Nets are plus 140 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Grizzlies at home, just keep in mind they've dropped 8 out of their last 10 straight up. They've also failed to cover in their last 5 straight at home. Meanwhile, on the Brooklyn side of things, well, they're 7-3 straight up in their last 10. They're a perfect 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 in Memphis if you're into historical trends. And when it comes to the scoring, Brooklyn 4-2 to the over in their last 6. Memphis 60% to the over in their games that were played at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take the road dog in this one. I'm also going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Brooklyn +4 in the over, 204 in that one. Next game, Hawks, Bucks. 8:30 tip-off in Milwaukee. The Bucks open the betting as the 14-point favorite, and the total at 230. And since those markets opened that one up, Milwaukee is getting faded. They're now -13. Once again, Milwaukee opened 14 down to 13. Total opened 230 up to 230 and a half. Once again, that total opened at 230 up to 230 and a half. 60% are leaning Milwaukee, 53% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, the Hawks are +790 for an outright win. Milwaukee's 70% against the spread on their home court. They're also 13-6 against the spread as the official home favorite. This Milwaukee offense is putting up 120 points per contest in the friendly confines. They also cover 73% of their games, taking on teams below 450. And speaking of which, this Atlanta defense is allowing 118 points per contest overall for the year. They're just 10-25 straight up as the underdog. Atlanta's just 5-16 straight up in their games away from home. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 5 on the road in Milwaukee. Now, scoring-wise, Atlanta is putting up just 107 points per contest when traveling. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's 4-1 to the under in their last 5. So with all that said and done, give me Milwaukee -13 in the under, 230.5 in that one. Next game, Clippers, Suns, 9 o'clock tip-off in Phoenix. The Clippers open 5 down to -4. Total open 233 up to 234. 65% are leaning Clippers, 55% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Suns are +155 for some money line cash. And the Clippers are 5-2 ATS in their last 7, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 that were played at the current number. This Clippers offense is putting up 116 points per contest. They're also covering 67% of their games when laying the points. Phoenix on the other side, just 9-30 straight up overall for the year, 5-15 straight up at home. This Phoenix offense is scoring just 105 points per contest on their home court. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 7. Scoring-wise, Phoenix is 67% to the under in their games at the current posted total. The Clippers are 4-2 to the under in their last 6 on the road. Give me the Clippers -4 in the under, 234 in that matchup there. Next game, Knicks, Lakers, 10:30 tip-off in Los Angeles. The Lakers open 8.5 down to 7.5. Total open 225 and a hook, down to 224 even. 62% are leaning Lakers, 78% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Knicks are +275 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Knicks to get the job done in this one, just keep in mind they failed to cover in 6 out of their last 7. They're also winless in their last 5 straight in the outright column. This New York offense is putting up just 106 points per contest away from home. They're shooting also just 42% from the field when traveling. One thing to note here, guys, is that this New York Knicks team lost to Atlanta and Phoenix in their current 8-game skid. So they're playing some really bad basketball right now. Scoring-wise, the Lakers are 6-2 to the under in their last 8. Give me the Lakers, -7 after buying the half a point in the under, 224 in that one. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Thunder Trailblazers, 10:30 tip-off in Rip City. Now, this one opened up as a pick'em contest, and since then, Portland has taken a little bit of money here. They're now -1. Total open 223.5 down to 223 even. 51% are leaning Portland, 57% shaded toward OKC. Now, Portland 7-3 straight up in their last 10. They successfully covered the number in 3 out of their last 4. Portland covers nearly 70% of their games as the official home underdog. So if that line were to flip, just keep in mind Portland covers nearly 70% of their games as the official home underdog. Their offense puts up 114 points per contest at the Moda Center this year as well. Now, OKC has really struggled to cover the number against these Blazers. They're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 versus Portland. They're also 0-5 straight up in their last 5 in Portland. Now, when it comes to scoring, we're looking at an OKC team who's 4-1 to the under in their last 5 when traveling. Meanwhile, on the Portland side of things, they're 7-1 to the under in their last 8. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take the home favorite in this one. Give me Portland -1 and the under 223 in that one.